Okay, so is everybody physically, if not emotionally, prepared?
I am.
Yes.
Yes.
We are short one sea elf today, but she probably doesn't want to have anything to do with this. What's it got ready to come? It's all
Give me
very
advance
silly.
warning.
It's all very silly and ill-advised, and
That
requires
describes
much
every
too much
session so
quiet.
far.
So, last time in Saltmarsh, Kerithlana was very quick to disabuse Oceanus the sea elf that she was queen of anything. She was like, no, here you can have the crown, I don't care. But you guys forced her to take it back, if I made my notes correctly.
Yes,
You're like, no, you don't go throwing away magic crowns.
exactly.
Just keep it, but, he just has to know that you aren't, like, a fairy queen or anything. So, Oceanus was somewhat disappointed, and he also spoke too loudly of the history of his hometown, the water city called Manon, even though Kerithlana kept telling him to shut it.
If I remember rightly, he spoke too loudly all the time.
He was much too quick to spill the beans about everything. Any opportunity to speak, Oceanus was up there sharing story narrative to whoever would listen. So he told you the story about like a sea queen saving the sea elf town of Manon from an aboleth thousands of years ago. The aboleth was kind of responsible for Manon becoming a underwater city, and their tribe actually becoming sea elves because they had to adapt. With the sea queen's return, he just assumed that the time of the drowning must be upon them because prophecy spoke of the sea queen returning and delivering the sea elves from that which sinks, the terror below, the trench of eternal darkness, etc. And if Kerithlana isn't the sea queen and the crown of Oceany Bits is just floating around willy-nilly, then the future's probably dire. So Oceanus is kind of bummed about that. He also mentioned that the troubles Manon usually experienced came at the hands orphans of the Sahuagin, Minotaur pirates, or the halfling hags known as the Scum Sisters. Then you guys had a little debate about lizard folk, escaping the ones that Shaefira saw escaping the smuggler vessel, as well as the ones you knew of that were in trade with the smugglers. Oceanus recognized them as part of the Bloodroot tribe. Couldn't say if they were prisoners or smugglers or not. You guys kind of concluded that they weren't manacled, that they swam away freely, so you're a bit suspicious about what they're on about. Oceanus has a vague idea of where the tribe's lair is, on the tip of the Basura swamp. So he's like, it's not too far west of where his tribe's island city is. But typically, historically, the elves have not had trouble with the Bloodroot tribe. The party intended to summon Anders Solmar to their not-so-haunted house to give a report regarding how they'd crushed the smugglers with deceit and a gunpowder plot. Maybe invite him to the Viking funeral that you guys never got around to. And you also wanted to collect some money. I can't remember how much that you were promised for completely breaking up the smuggling.
Me neither. Lots.
Look it up.
I put down 1,000 just as a nice round number.
That sounds right, actually.
Although, little bookkeeping. Can I have my armor back, Shaefira?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, and under analysis, there's ample time for you guys to put your actual clothes on. So you were all set to like summon Anders to the house, to show him the bodies as proof, since you exploded all the other proof. Trying to get your cash. Alas, a shocking death occurred overnight in Saltmarsh. Gellin Primewater fell to his death from his balcony, leaving behind a note suggesting he was taking his own life because Anders and your party were too close to discovering his involvement with smuggling and the slave trade. You guys headed to the docks, and the party split up, Stiiv choosing to gather info amongst the crowd in his Esteban Erkel disguise, while the rest of the party talked to the surviving town councilors assembled at the crime scene. Following the clues, your impromptu CSI Saltmarsh endeavor uncovered some evidence that Gellen's death might not have been a suicide. The only other tidbits, okay, you haven't gotten around to that Viking burial that Stiiv wanted, so you just shove the bodies into the smuggler's jolly boat and you put it under a tarp back at the house in the caves.
Mm-hmm.
The party gave Rocky and Jeff Perkins some about 50 gold pieces that they got off of the smugglers for house expenses. And what else? Oh, and Stiiv wasn't privy to it, but Trivett Amoria came to the scene. She was distressed because of missing persons in the sties, and Anders left with her, eager to help her out. And so it remains whether or not you tell Stiiv about that stuff, or he can be ignorant. It's up to you.
Well, she's kind of his sister or half sister, isn't she?
Well, yeah, she that's what she says, yeah.
Sister by like adopted kind of sister.
Adopted sister when, like, your family makes you sleep in the boat shed out back.
Oh,
That kind of sister.
lovely.
It's complicated.
So,
Sounds it.
Gelen died in the wee hours of the 28th day of Baracus. And so you guys have been tiddling about on the docks. You talked to many people. You investigated inside the house. You did a last investigation of the body before you let the town watch cart the body off to their tower. That's when you discovered that the meticulous Gelen, though dressed, was not wearing a corset. And it seems really weird. You'd also the suicide note after rummaging around in the house and some people having this amazing insight. You started to suspect that maybe the suicide note was a forgery, so you sent the suicide note off with Pansy Paperweight, the gnome from House Civis who works as part of the Hugs organization. And she has that overnight for examination to verify or deny that it is in fact a forgery. You've also been ordered to attend a town council meeting that's going to be held the next day, the first day of, and I've put this stuff on the calendar. The first day of Ron. There's going to be a town council meeting to discuss this stuff, the results of what you've investigated so far. You expect Pansy Paperweight to show up at this to give her report. And you're supposed to give your report to the council members. She pauses to drink. So that's your life. Now, when you guys were off doing your own thing, Stiiv was disguised, mask of many faces, disguised as Esteban Urkel, the most interesting man in Saltmarsh. And he had an opportunity to potentially talk to people on the docks on his own, depending on how, charming and persuasive he managed to be. So, with that in mind, Stiiv, I want you to do persuasion and perception rolls.
Would it be persuasion or deception?
Well, yeah, either, whichever you want. Persuasion or deception, and a perception.
And start as we mean to go on.
Oh, God. This is a great start.
So, geez, if only you rolled higher.
The one thing I'm good at is lying, and I rolled a 2.
It's really sad.
Oh,
Especially because this is rumors that we're talking about. You don't get as many rumors because of your deception roll. But you did perceive there was one point during the evening when the smuggler named Tito stormed onto the docks, and he was loudly complaining about so much attention being given to investigating Gellin Primewater's death. Uh, he was complaining because there were multiple deaths that have happened in the sties, including his friend Crawford. And he was demanding that the Town Watch put as much effort into investigating those deaths as that of the town council member. And he wasn't getting a lot of traction, including the members of the party. I mean, I seem to remember that Kerithlana was very unimpressed that he was talking about anybody dying because he was a criminal. And he was
Really?
he was bringing unneeded attention to himself, being a criminal, being a smuggler, and all that. So, Stiiv, you overheard that, and you also you did not have a lot of luck getting people to talk to you.
that was not very interesting.
Somehow, yeah, that the dead body on the docks was a little bit more interesting than Esteban Urkel this morning. So the only rumor you found is you did notice that at the crime scene, out of the priests that were attending the body to see if there was anything that could be done, there was a priest of Vol, a priest of the Six, and an inspired monk all at the scene, which reminded Stiiv what a diverse spiritual profile Saltmarsh has. Because this was not actually unusual, that there are actually places of worship for all of these religions in the town.
Yeah, that's pretty across the board.
Yeah, yeah, and of course there's the old standbys. There's the flame. Everybody knows the flame, and then there's the host. You know,
The tentacles.
what? No, no. The tentacles. That's just you. Though I mean, some could argue that the devourer of the Six is tentacle adjacent. The only other thing that you heard a lot of people talking about, they wouldn't talk to you about it directly, but a lot of people were talking about what was going to happen with this town council seat that's now open. And you heard people say that only landowners can run for council. So there's a lot of talking about that and who likely candidates might be to replace Gellin Primewater on the town council.
None of them being people from the Stiiv.
Well, do everybody, you can do, well, no, I guess only Stiiv should roll about this because you're the only person who really knows the town. So you can do like a history or an insight, so something that's groovy. If any of those things are groovy.
History's a little bit better than insight.
Okay.
Yeah, +1. It's a little bit better.
So, you know, the general thing is that the Stiiv is the oldest part of town. That it was built upon the ruins of an abandoned previous village when the boats first came aground of refugees from Sire. They found this abandoned town, and with their ships somewhat damaged from the pirate activity around the Tempest Sea, they decided that it was safer to settle in this abandoned town rather than continue the journey southward as the original plan was. That's where the first inhabitants lived and, you know, devised up ownership of different areas. But as riches changed over time in the city, the people who were the richest tended to move southward and build new construction. leaving behind or retaining their property, but they started renting it out instead of living there. So they kind of became landlords. You know that there are some people, as there always are, who stuck it out, whether out of traditional pride, just plain stubbornness. But you know, there's a handful of people who do still own property in the skies. One of them being your foster father, Potter Amoria. He definitely owns his house in the boat shack. You also know that the gnomes, the Bloomwiffler family, own their property. And there are a couple others that you're aware of. But by and large, like say at least 80% of the population of the skies do not own anything and they just rent. So, you know, there's like maybe a small handful of people who would be eligible in the skies, but not a lot.
Not a lot. All right. Well, if my wandering and rumor milling has completely failed, I wander around and attempt to uh, meet back up with Kymir.
So you catch up with your friends. I use with quote marks, finger quotes, as they're fiddling with Gellen's dead body on a cart. And you hear
But
them as you approach, they're all exclaiming, "He's not wearing a corset! He's not wearing a corset! Stiiv, he's not wearing a corset!"
well, that's normal.
All right, so we explain why we're so
Why the corset's important.
why it's so exciting. Yeah.
Undergarments, so exciting.
Wait till we tell you what we did with the hull.
I'm not sure I want to know. I
So,
mean, because it's a monk, so you know they like to punch things, and you really don't need any more details about fisting the hole.
Ooh.
ooh,
I'll have you know, we used a wooden stick.
That's not helping. That leaves splinters.
I'm dying. So,
Oh dear.
after you finished your examination of Gellum Primewater's body, the town guard they roll off the cart. They start tossing barrels of water onto the bloody dock, and the scene starts to clear up. And as the gore evaporates, trickles away, so does the crowd. It slowly dissipates, heading off to the day's work or to talk more about it, but over claw wine and lobster pie at the snapping line nearby. Uh, you see Captain Zendros kind of wander off, and she gives you guys a little wave as she heads south over Sharkfin Bridge.
So, do we have any leads other than a bunch of people dying in the skies?
Um. Well, I guess we tell Steve what we found in the house and how we've got Pansy checking to see if a suicide note's genuine. And then other than that, it's like, no. We think he might not have committed suicide. We think something might have happened to him, but
Is maybe offended to being referred to as a besmirched tadpole?
Was that
um,
you? Now that you see the well, you have you seen the suicide note?
That's what I'm. Yeah, I'm reading it. Me, the player, is reading it. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
assuming
I don't
that
think Steve has actually
kind
seen it.
No, Kymir and Shaefira had.
because they handed
If
it off to Pansy.
if they
But they could tell
summarize the
him.
content listed by name as a besmirched tadpole.
You also see that as the town guard rolls their cart away, you see that Jarmy Lavage, the fisher who found the body, he's escorted along with them. He doesn't seem to be under arrest, but he's going along for questioning.
Okay. But we don't think there's out dodgy about him, did we? I mean, he just said he'd found him.
You'd still have to answer questions, like in what
Mm.
state did you find him? Did you touch him? Did you roll it over? Blah, blah, blah. Has the
I
trank
don't
thing
think you
been
talked to him
contaminated?
directly, but Trivet was around when his name was brought up, and I think she let on that he did do smuggling.
Right.
Like I think she was kind of like wink wink nudge nudge. So you know that her dad is involved with smuggling. You know this guy is involved with smuggling, and you know that A.D. Bloomwiffler is not.
Hmm. So I guess we're just waiting for Pansy.
Well,
You
she
have
said she'd need it overnight,
Yeah,
so
like the next evening is when the town council meeting is, and you all will reconvene, and that is when evidence will be presented. So
and what
Oceanus
time
is
is it
with you.
now?
It is
Oh,
the morning of the day before.
the
Oceanus is with you,
28th.
and he's like, What are we doing now? This is really exciting."
Um, all right, so Stiiv, Trivet was around earlier when we got here, but you'd wandered off into the crowd, and I can't remember if we've discussed this before, but she says that she's kind of your half sister or something, and
Yeah.
she says your dad's gone missing.
No. Well, that's good.
Okay.
Unexpected response.
Yeah.
Let's just say he and I aren't exactly on speaking terms.
Okay. Um. Well, Anders went off with her to help.
Oh,
Um.
well, I guess we'll go.
Well, we've got. Yeah. I mean, I suppose it depends. I mean, we said. I mean, we seem to be getting quite a good relationship with Anders. It's whether or not we want to help him or if we want to leave him to spend some time with Trivik because we know that he's kind of keen on her. Tito came in saying there'd been some deaths in the styes. Do we want to, I mean, do we know if there's been more than just those two that Tito mentioned? DM.
I gave you some names.
Yeah, I only remember the ones that
Which
Tito
I
shouted
think is
about.
what led to some of this. Like, why is he talking about those people? Tito said Tito said that he was complaining that Crawford and A.D. Bloomwiffler were both
The
dead,
fishwax guy.
and they weren't investigating them enough. And then he was talking about how there were missing people too that weren't being investigated. And those included Ray Bob Geordie, John Joe, and Potter Amoria.
Right. But we
Oh,
know we know what's happened to some of them, don't we?
You know that you guys killed Ray Bob and Geordie.
Geordie. Right.
oh, wait, I just reread the notes here. Trivet's father disappeared. Or
Yeah,
was
your foster dad.
okay, that's a little different than Steve's father's missing.
Well, I suppose, as Kymir, if I'm going to say your dad thinking it's the same, not sure how the relationship's set up or anything with half sister.
Right.
Yeah,
Now,
like
if
because
Trivet's father's missing,
Trivet
that's
was
a
claiming that he's like Steve's dad and he'd want to know. But yeah, Kymir doesn't really know Steve's family history.
yeah, it's complicated. But if Trivet is missing, aka adopted dad, then yeah, we should go follow Anders and see what's going on with that.
Okay, then I'm happy to do that because if we need to kill some time and we can try and find some more clues, if I mean, do we think this is all tied in? It seems a bit weird that all this stuff's happening.
It
Everybody
it's a bit extra, that's for sure.
is a bit extra. Everyone can do a perception check before you leave the dock.
Oh,
I'm great at these.
good job, Shaefira is better than us put together.
So Kymir and Stiiv and Kerithlana by default notices really nothing. Oceanus, of course, is busy talking, so he doesn't notice anything. But Shaefira sees two things. She sees Barry the tomato vendor slinking out of Gellin Primewater's house, was tucking something into his coat as he scurries away to the north. And she also notices a very tall, dark-skinned man wearing a red turban. As he is moving towards toward the Sharkfin Bridge, a little imp temporarily poofs into sight on his shoulder. And then the imp seems to be startled, and then it disappears again.
I don't see this, do I? So never mind. Okay.
Just Shaefira sees it.
Okay.
It's a very tall man in a red turban.
Everyone's a tall man to a halfling.
And
Yeah, that's
extra.
true.
He's extra though. He's like the humans are like 6 feet tall, and this guy is close to 7. He really actually towers over the other people.
Oh wow.
Hang on. Did you say Barry the tomato vendor turned into him, or
No, no, no. Barry the tomato vendor. She saw him slinking out of Gellin's house. Like apparently he ducked
Right.
in there after the town guard stepped out with you, and she saw him leaving, heading to
Okay,
the
so-
north. So the
Yeah,
guy in a
so-
turban, he's heading across Sharkfin Bridge to the south. Barry the tomato vendor is slinking off to the north.
Right.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell Stiiv and Kymir about Barry the tomato vendor. Acting a bit suspicious. And then point out the tall guy with the mephit and the turban. Oh, the imp thing. On heading off over the bridge.
Stiiv, do history or insight check.
History or insight?
While he's doing that, will I be able to see the guy with the imp? Will he still be in view, or
He's becoming a little dot now. Because he's a good, I don't know, he's at least 100 yards away, and there's kind of like the crowds of the day starting to bustle about in town. So he's like off the map at this point.
right?
And Stiiv, you scratch your horns underneath your disguise because you're like, yeah, there's a guy in a turban around this town, but you can't remember who he is.
Yeah, not ringing a bell.
You're like,
The bit-
yeah, he's a guy who lives here, but God, don't remember who he is.
And Barry slunk off to the north.
Putting something in his coat after he's come out of the house.
Do we need to aid
Should
in
we-
the investigation?
Well, which way's the styes?
The Stiiv are to the north.
Right. So,
So if
and
we
is that
follow-
the direction Trivet went as well?
Yeah, well, when she left you, which was probably, I don't know, over half an hour ago, she drug
Oh,
Anders off to the north.
and Barry went off to the north too.
Yeah.
That
We
is
can
the
sort of like
direction of
tie it
where the
all in
styes
together.
are.
Maybe we should
So,
go that way.
yeah, since everything's pointing that way, maybe that's the way we should go.
Except
And
for the
then
dude in the turban heading south.
yeah, but if he lives around here, he's someone we can maybe pick up afterwards.
Oh, and I guess I should mention that, yeah, the the guard tower is to the west, where they took the guy who found the body.
Right.
And the
So
body itself.
we got one thing going south, one thing going west, and then like 8 things going north.
Right. North winds.
What? There's only
Hmm.
two, I think.
Well, Barry went north, Trivet went north, Anders went north. Um,
People died in
People
the
missing,
skies.
People
dying
died in the
north.
They're
north.
dead
Tito
people.
went north. Crawford went north. Although Crawford's
Yeah,
dead,
he's
but
dead. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
I feel so guilty about that, about how I named the NPCs now.
at least Chef Perkins is still alive.
Chef Perkins. And Tito's still alive. He's a bit of a troublemaker, but he's alive.
So yeah, north wins.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree.
Oh.
Is Constable Duke staying with us, or is she sort of like guarding the house?
The constables, they're shooing people along the docks. You know, everybody clear out, nothing to see here. They're the ones doing cleanup as well.
Right. Then I guess we say goodbye to them.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
And
guard.
just wander off.
So you're headed to the north.
Yes.
Yes, to the sides.
I have a makeshift map here. A makeshift shift map here. I hope it's not huge or too huge. She says as she scrambles to do last minute stuff. It's kind of huge.
Oh dear.
Not like PNG 5,000 by 8,000 huge, but still.
Yeesh.
Oh wow, whole big old city section.
Yeah. So this is the oldest part of town, the Styes, or just like the random streets. So you kind of, jog a little bit. You're trying to track where Barry went. So everybody roll some perception checks to see if you actually keep up with Barry.
Oh dear.
Wait, no, wait. Don't, because I still have to do stealth for Barry. And silly me, for some reason, took him off of the doodad. I can also not type Barry. Isn't it great that I have an NPC named Barry the tomato vendor?
Awesome.
It's priceless. I love that it was a random throwaway comment for a quick disguise, and then it evolved into an actual fully fledged NPC. With a face.
All right. So he's not really stealthy. So Shaefira and Kymir, you guys both spot him as you're tracking him as you run along a ways. You head north, which means you pass by a couple different fixtures. One of them is a lumber factory. You also pass by the maritime old seaman's home kind of building, and the Temple of All. They have a small little structure. Everybody roll another perception check.
Ooh. Ah, this map is too fucking big. Hang on.
So this time, Kymir effortlessly is tracking him, and of course Stiiv sees him too. You start to head farther north past the graveyard of Saltmarsh proper, and at the other side of the graveyard, that's like the boundary for where the styes begin. So the streets become more narrow, the cobbles become grungier, even though it is now mid-morning easily. The sky just seems dimmer here. Maybe it's because the buildings are so much closer together. Maybe it's just an overall depression and ennui about these streets and the posture of the people you see slumping along the corridors. You see Barry duck around some boxes.
So we're basically in the Narrows.
I'm adding you to this map finally.
Oh, Rand, are our chickens still alive?
They were when you left home this morning.
Okay.
You're kind
Well,
of trusting Chef Perkins and Rocky to keep them alive in your absence.
well, that's what I meant. It's like I missed a session, so I don't know if the chickens got eaten or not.
But there are a pair of chickens back at your house, or at least there were.
Okay. Okay.
I haven't put them on the map, but hey.
Although they were at one point.
Yeah, they were in the garden.
Yeah, but you will see once you head back home that's your homeland has changed a little.
Oh.
To reflect, because it's been at least 2 weeks since you hired Perkins and Rocky to take care of your home. And when you first got there, it was really a wreck. Lots of dead bodies, a lot of spider webs, lots of poisonous mushrooms, and trash everywhere. There were rotted floors, some rotted and crumpled staircases, and busted walls. So, over the past 2 weeks, they've been working in between bouts of cooking tasty bacon.
Oh, okay.
So we effectively hired the Property Brothers.
You did. They've been doing their jobs. You didn't hire any scrubs.
Woohoo!
They're actually just dudes looking for work to earn a living wage. So you got them off the streets, out of the smuggling game, and into property management. Go team!
Good, yeah, pretty good deal for them actually. Okay.
I know they didn't die. It was awesome.
Not dead, landed a good paying job. What the?
Well, for now,
And it's legal.
They got room.
can
They
get
got
some more
board.
money.
They aren't dead. What more could a townsperson want?
All right, Barry, you're not about to besmirch my favorite disguise.
So Barry, he slinks around one more corner. You guys roll one more perception check.
Oh God.
Jeez.
Can't you re-roll?
I think maybe I've got a
Oh yeah,
blindfold on.
halfling. Halfling. You re-roll once.
Yeah.
if ever Barry was
Oh,
to roll
okay.
decently on a roll, he finally rolled decently. But even though Shaefira is lucky because she's a halfling and she got to re-roll that roll, it still wasn't good enough. And as you round the corner, you realize that Barry the tomato vendor has disappeared. Boom, out of sight.
Yeah.
So he disappeared somewhere after rounding this corner. Now, as you were chasing him, you realized that you ran past one area that's quite weathered in the cobblestones, but it was also quite marked by lingering bloodstains soaked into both the stones and the wood. Yeah, by where
That bit.
Kymir is. And they're people. I'm not putting 1,000 people on the map again, but you see a lot of they're fishers. They're different people kind of lingering about. Some of them are going about, like the day, hanging out the day's laundry. Some of them are like tossing out trash. Others are kind of rooting through past it vegetables and things like that. Selling them on selling the goods that are no longer good enough for the fancy market closer to the docks.
Selling the day old donuts.
Yeah, the bruised tomatoes and the browning cabbage. That's what gets sold here in the stands. The stale bread. So you see those people out and about, and they're likewise, talking whatnot. Some people are a bit startled. You see some people point and exclaim when they see Esteban Urkel, because Esteban Urkel is much more refined and excellent a character compared to the sort of people that normally walk through the streets of the Stiiv.
Is there a alcove or something where I can duck in just to break line of sight for a second?
There are plenty of little alleys and alcoves and whatnot.
You duck into one of those and switch Mask of Many Faces to become Barry and walk out and look. Keep an eye. Basically, go up north here as Barry, looking for people that are doing a double take.
I want you to do some kind of check here for a specific reason. And it's not really gauging the success of your deception here. So I want you to do just just roll a d20. This is more like a luck roll. All right, so you aren't lucky.
Please.
If you did a d20, I was gonna be like, you managed to duck into the same alcove Barry was in. So, but that didn't happen. So you duck into an alcove. You change your visage from Esteban Urkel to Barry the tomato vendor. You step back out. You either are not noticed, or there are people who are kind of like grumble when they spot you. Like there's a general sense of ill feeling towards the Barry the tomato vendor still. That the rumors are rampant that he is not a trustworthy vendor.
Actively.
Sell dodgy tomatoes.
People are like, did you hear how he's shady?
Respect.
They're like that might not be, there was more than one Barry in the market the other day. That guy,
There was.
he's a shady businessman. Don't buy your tomatoes from him, whatever you do. You don't know if it's a real fruit.
Right, so, but no one looking like
Nobody seems to walk up to you like, "Hey Barry, how you doing?"
well, I wasn't looking so much for that, but like as he ran by, went into an alcove, someone else was like, "Huh?" Another one. But Spider-Man double trouble. If that doesn't happen, I'll just drop them.
Are you
Go back.
Stiiv now?
Yep. I go back to Stiiv.
Oh, Stiiv.
To Stiiv.
Now that you're Stiiv, you see there's just as many people pointing and they're like, oh my god, it's Stiiv.
Yeah,
And
I'm
you
used
see
to
people
that.
kind of scramble away if they spot you. They're like, okay, I don't want to interact with him. I don't want him to cross my path. And they're ducking. You see a lot of window shutters are closing. You see, like women coming out of their houses ready to dump a chamber pot, and they see you and they think better of it and they kind of duck back inside.
Yeah, I'm used to that. But at least they're not actively trying to kill me.
Or throwing the chamber pots at you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, Kymir, you were where the bloodstains were.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I guess I just crouch down. Does it look fresh? Is the people sort of I can ask about what might have happened?
Oh, I wanted everybody to roll perception checks. That's what I wanted you guys to do. Or investigation if that's better for you. I think they might both be wisdom though.
Are you kidding me?
Bloody hell!
Did Will Wheaton touch my dice?
So nobody wants to talk to Stiiv because he's Stiiv. They're like they're giving him a wide berth, so he can't like overhear or really, get anybody to spill any information to him. Likewise with Kymir, people are kind of askance to the tiefling horns. People in the styes, they're a little bit more superstitious here, and while tieflings might pass through Saltmarsh now and then, and they've grown accustomed to Captain Zindros running the faithful quartermasters of Militia, they don't necessarily trust a tiefling being here in their home streets. So they're not open with Kymir. But Shaefira, being Shaefira and somewhat charming, she manages to talk to a couple of the people wandering down the streets, some of the bystanders, and they point to the blood patches and they're like, yeah, that's where they found Crawford's body. It was just this morning. Somebody killed him in the night.
And so he got killed the same night that Galen Crimewater did?
Oh yeah, they think it happened about the same time.
That's not suspect at all.
Shaefira also hears somebody I wonder what's going to happen to his hut.
Where does he live?
He
In-
Yeah,
lives
where does he live?
he lives just to the north of where that little it's almost like it's a what semi detached. It's not a hut per se.
Two huts stuck to each other.
Yeah, so he has the inn kind of like townhouse in this ramshackle tenement. But you get an impression they're talking about how he doesn't really have any family. So he doesn't really have any heirs, but he actually owned it.
Right, so it's two landowners that got killed.
They're like, you're talking about 80?
Is
Well, yeah.
that the gnome?
Yeah, 80 Bloomwifter, he owned his place too, but he has a son, 81.
Oh, God.
I reckon 81 will get the
Oh,
business.
All right. Can we ask where Adie's house is?
His house is a little bit to the south. Like you see where the tunnel kind of goes to the south and it kind of lurps around. I will put Kymir. Like if you go down this way and you go down this way, you go down this way. At the end of the line, that's how you enter the fish wax business and the home of the Bloomwiflers.
Okay. And if we were gonna go look at Crawford's house, would that be in the direction that we lost back?
Kymir, you're sitting on top of Crawford's
Right,
house.
okay. Sorry, for some reason I thought you meant there. Okay.
Okay, and the Barry disappeared. I'll put Stiiv where Barry disappeared. In this area, like in this alley,
Yeah,
in this
sure.
street.
Oh, well, that was too convenient if that had been the case.
Let's say we go check out Crawford's place.
Yeah, since we're so close to it. And it's empty, hopefully.
It's empty. You walk up to the door. I'm not going to load a whole nother map for this, even though I do have one. Because I'm me. But you see, like, the door is kind of ramshackle. And it's like a simple 2-story. Everything's square. When you go to the front door, you see that it is almost hanging from its hinges. Like, you don't think that somebody broke in. You just think it was an ill repair. And it's not locked. So you have no trouble just opening up the front door. Going in. It's a dusty first level, smelling of fish. There's a simple little brazier that's open, not a proper stove, but it looks like that's what Crawford used to cook his food. There's a variety of fish bones piled up in a dish sitting to the left of it. There is kind of a rickety sofa that's quite threadbare that takes up one wall where he probably, just hung out and sat. There is a rickety flight of stairs that leads to a second level. And up there's 2 bedrooms. And one of them, they both have mattresses in it. You're pretty sure that they're infested.
Ew.
That there's some bed bugs going around. So everybody roll a Constitution check.
Crap.
Or I guess save. Yeah, save.
Finally.
Ooh.
So everybody's good. You're all good. Nobody picked up any fleas while you're there.
Is there anything under the bed?
You look around and it's kind of sad. Like, Stiiv, you think that your place, your hovel, is kind of, you like your hovel better because at least it's wet. Know what I'm saying?
And there's knickknacks and things around.
And your hovel is cozier. It has more warmth to it, just in the sense that you got all your stuff around you. You don't think Crawford had that much stuff? And it's pretty empty, with just everything he owned seemed to be kind of threadbare. You don't find any loose money in the sofa or just sitting around. Like, you don't think he had much of anything that he kept around this place. Everybody roll an insight check.
My shack is better than this guy's place.
Why do I ask you to roll things when everybody rolls so poorly?
I don't
I'm
know.
always like playing the odds that somebody's not going to suck. Oh, thank God.
Really?
Oh,
Really took his time, did that?
I ask you
Yeah,
to
that
roll
was a roller
things, and then
coaster.
everybody rolls really shitty. And then I'm like, damn it.
Ah, dear.
I wanted to actually drop that bon mot of story knowledge. So thank you, Stiiv. Thank you for rolling.
finally.
Stiiv,
only took-
looking around, and there's 2 bedrooms, and from like the state of both bedrooms, you're pretty sure that Crawford did not live alone. You think somebody else lives there.
Ooh. Do I know if Tito lives, or does Tito live elsewhere?
Well, funny you should ask that question. Because as you guys start slumping down the stairs to the ground level, you find on the first floor Tito in the kind of like, lounge area, the place where the sofa is, and he's looking up at you on the stairs, and he immediately tenses because he recognizes all of you, and he's like, "What are you doing here?"
We came to see if we could find out what happened to Crawford.
Yeah, what are you doing here?
Huh, that's 1, 2, 3. It's good somebody cares. I live here. Yeah, I lived here with my mate Crawford.
Okay, so did you hear or see anything happen last night? This morning?
No, I stayed out late at the bar. When I came home, I found him.
How do we know how he was killed?
Oh, he was strangled. I
Mm.
found him. Splayed out in the
Why?
road, outside of his house.
But strangling doesn't leave blood stains.
God damn it!
See, I wasn't gonna say that. You would if it was like
It was a violent strangling, like he garroted
wire?
his head off. Somehow, I'm gonna get even with you for that.
I was just I figured that was in character. Like, wait, strangled, that wouldn't leave blood stains. Like, what do you?
Tito is obviously disturbed by you even questioning his story because he seems to be somewhat heartbroken. And he says it was so terrible, the strangling, that they almost cut through his throat, whatever they used to cut off his air. So yeah, there was a lot of blood because they nearly tore his head off.
Insight check. Were Tito and Crawford an item?
Roll insight.
No.
20.
Yes, you could tell from the way that Tito is upset that they definitely were an item.
Did Crawford have any enemies? Do you have any idea who might have done this to
Well, I mean, does anyone here have enemies? I mean, the most criminal thing that he had any involvement with was the smuggling, which you know. So, if you'd asked me a couple of days ago, I thought the most likely person to kill him would have been you lot.
Okay.
And before that, I would have said San Belay would have been the death of us.
Do you know of anyone else who was in charge of a smuggling ring? Could it be something to do with that?
If I'd known anybody in charge of the smuggling ring, I would have told you when you had us, right?
Well, you might have done.
I know, I don't know who was in charge, beyond San Belay. You know, Crawford, he didn't want to work for the smugglers. He didn't trust San Belay, but I told him we needed the money and convinced him to do it. So it's my fault.
So we've killed Sambalay, haven't we? Have we?
Twice.
Yeah, you killed him twice.
He did threaten to come back, but
So somebody's sort of tidying up the smuggling operation, then, do you think?
well, it sounds like it. But would they go after? I mean, they've killed Crawford. Wouldn't they go after Tito as well?
What, you think they're going to kill me?
Was he a smuggler? Or part of the smuggling?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was
both,
he?
both of them
I
were.
don't know.
Yeah.
Crawford was the ones who gave the brandy and told him to go.
Well, if that's the
Then,
case,
yeah.
then they'll be going after Perkins and
Yeah.
Ooh, that big old tall guy in the red turban. Wasn't he heading off in the direction of our house?
Oh
just a lot.
shit!
Do you think they got strangled
He was heading
by
south.
turban?
He's going in the right direction.
Did you just
Oh,
say,
that means that-
did he get strangled by a turban?
Yeah. It's a reasonable question.
I guess it is a fabric wrapped around the head kind of thing.
Yeah.
That would be
Portable
devious.
Some odd job.
Yeah.
Like odd job, but it's a
Yeah.
turban. with the
Yeah.
garrote wire in the wrapping.
Yeah, I
That's
think
so
that's pretty
we
cool.
asked Tito if he knows about this really tall guy who has a turban.
let me do an insight check for Tito. Or what's good for Tito? Does Tito have any good things? No, Tito does not have any good things. Well, he has dexterity, but that doesn't apply to any of these things. Yeah, Tito, he's not quite sure who Turban Guy is. He does say I don't remember seeing any Turban Guy around the house, around the haunted house. No.
But wait, so the two
But what about
was
around the styes?
No, I haven't seen a Turban Guy around the stars either.
so Galen got killed last night. He owns a bunch of stuff. Crawford got killed last night, owns the stuff. 80 got killed last night, owns a bunch of stuff. Some of them are involved in the smuggling, maybe the others are?
So do we?
Trivet
Does
did tell
Tito
you
know
that
if
Trivet told you that 80 was not a smuggler. That the fish business was straight. Yeah, it was legit.
So could someone be bumping off the people that own property just in order to finagle their way onto the council? He said only people who own property can be council members. Yeah?
Tito tilts his head and looks at you. What you think? You think they killed Crawford because he owns this shack over here?
It's a push, but
Well, 80 owns something,
yeah,
but it's going to his son, so that wouldn't help anybody, would it?
how old is
Unless
He's got lots of kids. So even if somebody killed 81, there'd be like all the other kids. And then there's 82.
82 to 89?
3.
You know, or there's no 83 yet, you know, because, 82 is the grandson. But there's a lot of bloom whifflers, so it's not like that property's going anywhere. So why would you kill 80?
I
And
don't know.
the other people are missing. I don't think they owned anything, like Ray Bob.
Do we tell him about
He
Ray
didn't
Bob?
own anything. Geordie didn't own anything. He rented from Gellin. Yeah, and
about those two?
John Joe. Oh wait, John Joe. John Joe owned his thing. He's just missing though. And yeah, Potter and Moria, he owns his house. Right, Stiiv? Including the boat shack, where he made you sleep.
Yeah, he owns stuff.
But he definitely wasn't involved with the San Belay smuggling bit. He had his own guys.
So Potter's missing, huh?
Well, yeah. Trivet was around here crying a few hours ago. Well, yeah. The DM says, trying to remember what she's already told the party.
Can we ask Tito if he knows anything about why Barry the tomato vendor would be hanging about the styes and acting weird?
Barry lives here.
Whereabouts does he live?
He lives down Dumshackle Street.
Do we know where Dumb
The
Shackle
DM
Street is?
says, writing down the words she just said.
Oh, crap, I need to do my
Improv.
notes.
Stiiv, roll an insight check or a history.
Boom.
Stiiv, you remember that Dumshackle Street is the exact street that you lost Barry on? And the street that you ducked into an alcove to change your guises.
So we lost him on the street he lives on. Does he like housing thing on Dumbshackle Street Barry lives in? Like which house is his?
Do I need to draw you a map?
That'd be nice, actually.
Okay, you just kind of. Well, okay, I guess it's not technically Dumbshackle Street, it's the alley. It's Dumbshackle Alley off of Dumbshackle Street. So you just kind of head left, when you get to like the alley. And then you follow the alley and you reach a set of stairs that go down. And that's where Barry lives. He grows these subterranean tomatoes, which were really popular up until a couple days ago.
Yeah, I wonder what happened about it.
Well, there was this whole thing that there was more than one Barry. Yeah, people didn't trust that Barry was Barry anymore and that his tomatoes were tomatoes. So suddenly everybody's like, no Barry, Barry's bad, don't buy stuff from Barry. He hasn't taken it really well, if you ask me.
So Stiiv, so out of character, Stiiv crushed a livelihood.
Yeah.
I broke someone on accident.
Yeah, you totally broke Barry, the tomato vendor. Because you rolled poorly, mister. You rolled poorly.
He turned him into a life of crime.
Dice have consequences.
Ain't that the truth?
At this point, you see that Tito seems to kind of muster his courage, and he gets this really steely look in his eyes. And he says, look, I've lost, someone very important to me today. And I just got to ask you, answer me honestly. I know that Perkins and Rocky are still at that house with you. Are you treating them fairly? Are they okay?
They're great.
Yeah, they're doing great. They're fixing up the place, and we got them a good wage. Yeah, they're
Yeah, they seem to be happy.
taking care of our chickens.
And Tito, he watches how you guys all answer and how earnest you are, and he accepts that you're being truthful.
He accepts that he made bad life choices and got his partner killed.
He's like, all right, maybe we shouldn't have fled that place. Maybe we should have hung around, eh?
Mm.
Well, you made the decision you did, and who knows what's going to happen.
All we are is dust in the wind.
Mm-hmm.
And his shoulders slump again. The steely light goes out of his eyes.
I feel sorry for him. Can we offer him a job?
Oh.
Well,
He kind of flumps down on the couch. Now he's just slouching. He's a slouch on a couch. You guys need anything else from me?
It's okay. We'll get out of your hair. And make to leave, and just before
you hear him start to sob because Crawford was losing his hair.
Oh.
All right, I'm gonna go over and just put my hand on his shoulder and say, look, you've got no reason to trust us, but we've got plenty of room. If you don't want to stay here by yourself, if you want to go up to the house, tell Rocky and Perkins that we sent you, and you can hang around for a bit, and we'll see what we can do. We will try and find out what happened to Crawford.
He looks up at you with like a single man tear kind of shining in one eye. He says, I might take you up on that, but I'm going to hang out here for now because I want to see what happens with Crawford's place. I want to see who comes for it,
Well, that's fair. And we'll be around if anything happens,
If anything happens, it's
Come
shady.
find us.
I'll come and tell you. You're good people. You are. You haven't told him about killing Ray Bob and Jordy, have you?
No.
We killed half his friends. Yeah, no.
I almost did, but I didn't.
You're good people.
We'll just let that slide.
Look, it's not our fault that they all try to kill us first.
And I will point out at this point that this name John Joe you've heard that did own his place. You don't know if he's someone you killed or not. But he's also one of the missing people, like Potter and Moria.
Okay.
As leaving and stepping out onto the street, and mask of many faces into ran a smuggler boat. Geordie, I don't know. Preferably someone who's dead that we did kill.
Ray, Bob, and Geordie are dead. But you know that when you were on the docks the other day, or you're passing the market, you know that Geordie's widow and some of her little tykes were out mourning on the docks, like lamenting that her husband had not come home. That was around about the same time that you had the whole Barry the tomato vendor kerfluffle.
We'll go into Geordie.
So Geordie is probably the most likely to be recognized by his wife and kids. You don't know about Ray Bob.
Well, yeah, let's do Ray Bob then, and head over towards Barry.
You head toward Berryville,
Shea Berry.
Shaeberry, where all the tomatoes are vended.
I need that guy.
Does Kymir and Shaefira go with?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because if Barry's being dodgy, I don't want to risk anything happening to Stiiv.
He's doing some dodgy stuff. And what was Barry in Galen's house? That's
Yeah, exactly. Why did he pop in there? What was he doing?
And what did
Very-
he take?
Was he just trying to find someone to steal, or is he involved? So that's my thinking.
they had no business.
Maybe Galen had some like like really posh tomato seeds. Like the heirloom tomatoes.
Oh, he wishes.
Oh, yeah, trying to
Heirloom
recuperate
tomatoes.
his reputation.
So, what are you doing over at Barry the tomato vendor's house on Dumbshackle Alley?
Do we want to rush in, or do we want to just knock?
Knock
Maybe
on the
knock
door. Or...
politely. Yeah, knock.
Let's have a casual chat first.
So you knock on the door, and nobody answers at first. But you keep knocking. And eventually, the door kind of creaks open, and you hear this gruff voice say, "What do you want?" And he's slurring a little bit, like he's maybe been drinking of something.
A Bloody Mary.
Oh God!
What do you want? And he sees that it's Ray Bob. He says, "What do you want, Ray Bob?" Not in the mood for
At
talking.
Prime Water. Everything go fine at Prime Waters.
And his eyes widen in shock. He's like, "Look, you aren't going to talk, are you? I had a really rough couple of days. I just wanted something to take the edge off." And he cracks the door open wider, and he kind of flashes a bottle. And it's this fancy brandy that the smugglers have been moving. You know this stuff.
See.
Yeah, I thought nobody'd be missing it. And why shouldn't I have some stuff, Nobody will buy from me anymore. This is going to be the last brandy I have in a good long while.
Yeah, the problem with that is you weren't exactly subtle coming out. Are you sure you weren't followed?
You going to turn me in? Well, you obviously followed me, eh? Ray Bob?
Yeah, but who else did?
The people standing behind you? I should have had you guys roll stealth. I'm sorry.
Well, no. As was dude had
Dude was with you,
if
so
it helps my stated actions.
that's an
if it
auto
helps my
fail of
stated
your
actions,
stealth check because dude was with you.
to make too much noise. No, it should put it in Discord. If it helps, my stated actions are to make too much noise at an inappropriate time and then flail ineffectively.
There's
That is
giggling.
indeed what she said.
There's giggling around the corner that totally gave the jig up. Gave up the jig. So Barry's eyes get kind of shifty, and he's like, "Hey, you aren't gonna tell the town guard, are you? You aren't gonna squeal. You aren't a squealer, are you, Ray Bob?"
What were you doing in Galen's house?
I just told you I was stealing his booze.
There's much easier ways to get booze than going into the guy who just
For
got killed
free?
house.
I mean, he wasn't drinking it anymore, and that's not the kind of thing that they inventory. They're looking for things that killed him. Right? They're looking for signs of, like, foul play. They're not looking for brandy, and I got some brandy because I need some brandy because nobody buy my tomatoes anymore. You know how much
do you know
love
it's
I
foul
put in those
play?
tomatoes? I grow them with my soul, man.
That
Gonna
explains a lot.
Look,
basically the hard finger in the chest, which isn't very hard because Stiiv isn't very strong. Um, but hard finger in the chest, trying to basically bust his. And you're like, what were you doing there? Tell me the truth.
okay. You can do an insight check.
I can't use intimidation.
You can also do an intimidation check.
Okay, because that's way better. Still not good.
That is not intimidating enough.
Try and poke him in the chest and go, ow!
Close, but no cigar. He's like, why are you... You're a smuggler, man. Why are you getting so uptight about this? And then he kind of opens the door some more, and you see him, he's kind of scrambling behind the door, and for a split second, you're like a little bit tense, because like, what is he reaching for? But then he comes around the door with an unopened bottle of brandy. And it's like, look, you can have a cut.
Look over the shoulder at Kymir like, help?
Um,
This is
I don't know. Can I see if I believe him?
And he's swigging from the open bottle that he has still in his hand, and then the other hand is like shoving a unopened bottle at Ray Bob. And he's obviously distressed. He's like, I don't understand what went wrong. Nobody will buy from me anymore. And there was that. I think I'm seeing things because there was that other me across the market. You know, I saw him.
God.
And then everyone was like, "No, you aren't Ray Bob. I mean, you're not Barry. And who are you, Ray Bob? Are you Ray Bob? Am I Barry? Who is anybody anymore?"
Oh shit, we've broke him. Proper
we turned
broke.
him into a
And he
solicitor.
chugs hard and long out of that brandy bottle.
All
I
right,
think
is there any way we can fix this?
Give him more brandy, I guess.
You want to see my tomatoes? They're saying they aren't real,
Yes.
but they're real.
Why? I tell you what. Why don't we put a massive order in of tomatoes and tell them to take them up to the house? I feel bad.
over here giggling.
He's like, you're just pandering to me now. Saying you want to buy my tomatoes.
No.
You don't
no.
want to buy my tomatoes. You just feel sorry for me. You don't really want my tomatoes.
I throw 5 gold at him.
He just throws gold at him.
Yeah, I throw 5 gold at him. How many tomatoes will that get us?
I don't care if you tell the town guard where they stole it. What life is there for me now if no one will buy my tomatoes? I'd be better off in jail. And he drinks and drinks and he slams the door in your faces.
Well, if he's going to be like that, screw him.
So that happened.
He does keep the money you threw at him, though.
Oh, fuck's sake. Right, well, knock that off me thing.
Yeah, 5
You're not
gold.
exactly gonna walk into his house and like go crawl around on the floor in between the legs of a man who's clearly broken and bawling.
I know, but it's our fault.
Oh.
Bad rolls. All right. We have to fix Barry. Let me make a note.
Dice have consequences. So, what you want to do now? Because otherwise we can just flash forward.
I don't know. Do we want to check out Ace's house? Do we want to see if his son knows anything, or
Honestly, I'm out of leads until we get something from Pansy.
all right? Let's go with the DM offer of flashing forward.
All right. So we can either flash forward back to your house. You can have your Viking funeral.
Yeah, would we have time to do that today and then come back the next day for the Pansy reveal and that sounds
And then
wrong.
we can flash
And,
forward to the
council meeting.
or you could jump directly to town council.
I mean, the Viking funeral can
Can happen off screen.
happen off screen. We did it, and
But I will.
then
Well, let me share the house with you. Unless I haven't already shared it.
and then flash forward to the town council.
So,
We get to see our
as
new
you
house.
come home, you realize just how much work that Rocky and Chef Perkins have done for you. You go in your front door. Now the cannon is still outside, so that's another future problem for you, or future you problem.
That's not a problem.
You have a cannon. It's not a problem.
Yeah, it's great.
That's not a problem.
And as you
Look at
walk in
that.
your front door, you see
have a
that the
table.
stoop has been swept. There's no dust, there's no grime. The cobbles have been polished. The stairs have been washed, almost gleaming. The front door knocker, the brass, no longer looks grimy. And you open the door, and your foyer is, you realize for the first time that there's no trash here anymore. Like, you've been wandering around the house planning and plotting for how to deal with the smugglers for so long that you didn't really notice all the work that was happening around you. It's finally sunk in that, hey, this place isn't such a dump anymore. The rooms are rather empty, but the grime has been scrubbed and waxed away. It doesn't smell fishy, so obviously Rocky wasn't a customer of the Bloomwiffler clan. Places where there were like holes in the floor, like on the balustrade surrounding from the second floor, not the balustrade, but the balcony from the second floor, no longer has flimsy floor. It's been patched. Upstairs, no longer holes in the floor. It's been patched. Cobwebs swept away. And as you head back into your house, you hear the smells of Chef Perkins cooking away in his kitchen domain.
I shift into
We hit-
Robin Leach and go around narrating it like it's lifestyles of the rich and famous.
You guys haven't really picked bedrooms yet specifically because there's practically no furniture at this point. They've thrown away everything that was broken. So all that was left behind is one kind of rough mattress, a few chairs, and the only furniture that's been replaced at this point is the benches in the dining room so that you guys could eat, which Chef Perkins at some point decided was the most important thing to you guys.
He's not
The-
Well,
wrong.
yeah.
You also there's a room upstairs that has a tub in it drawn with water, and they apparently intended that to be for Kerithlana, and they put bubbles in. And since she's not here, we can't really tell like how she feels about the idea of bubbles, whether or not that's really annoying or not. But they did provide a tub just in case she'd rather sleep in water.
Oh, that was sweet.
So it'll be up to you in the future if you want to add further furnishings and pick out rooms and what might be in those rooms. Oh, and the only other thing is they added in a staircase which had previously been destroyed. The staircase to the attic has been rebuilt. so now there is easy access to the attic floor, which kind of adds almost a third floor to the house.
Is that the top right room?
Yeah.
Right.
And they cleaned up the garden. The wall, the gate, the stone wall around the garden hasn't been completely repaired, but they got rid of the rubble. And they haven't replanted yet. There is that family of dire badgers in the rose bushes that are still living there, and they're waiting for your input as to whether or not you wanted to like just let the badgers be.
I don't see any reason why we should disrupt the family of dire
No.
badgers.
Extra security system.
Where's the chickens? Are the chickens still there?
The chickens are out there, but like I didn't put them on the map.
No, but they're still there. They haven't been eaten. Or...
They haven't been eaten. They've been clucking around, and apparently Chef Perkins kind of like escorts them inside the kitchen at night so they don't get too cold, and so that nothing gets them. And he lets them like wander out and about free range during the day.
Okay.
Cool.
So he has a nice pot roast for you guys.
Sweet.
Yep, lots of potatoes.
So,
And Oceanus has followed you home.
oh god, really? And we lost him?
Like, apparently he just showed up, you know, because you lost him on your way to the north. And he's like, oh, I had the best talk with Ava Oland. She's really good people. And she's invited me to come stay with her, but I didn't want to be rude. So he came back to your house so he could tell you that he's not staying there.
Bye.
Thank you so much for saving my life.
So annoying.
You are noble. If you are not, even if you are not sea queen, a sea queen, you are noble at heart. I'm sure we will see each other again.
Hey, thanks.
He's ta-ta. And he tries to hug everybody.
No.
Awkward.
It's like very, very stiff, awkward hugs with everybody like kind of leaning every fiber of their being away from the sea elf who's trying to hug them.
Oh, dear.
Is he moist?
He's moist.
Oh.
Lovely.
And he just kind of slinks out the front door.
Oh, there we go. That's an out of context D&D quote for the day.
Is he moist? So you've had dinner. It's nighttime. You sleep. And the day moves forward. You've had your Viking funeral. All the bodies got burned up in the smuggler's jolly boat. Good times. If only you could have taken pictures. There would have been a whole bunch of selfies with like the burning boat, peace sign.
Oh, yeah. Photobomb.
We're burning smuggler bodies, yo!
Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag blessed. Okay. And you peek into the scullery and you notice that, hey, Chef Perkins has put some supplies in there. So there's like he's brought two big barrels of kegs of brandy up from below, from the stuff that you guys had purloined. He's also bought some other barrels of supplies. You see flour, you see like potatoes and corn and all other staples of food. There's like half of a pig and a cow there. So he stored the lauder, and obviously the money that you gave them has gone to stocking the pantry and repairing the house.
Guys, it's like we actually have a place now.
I
Like a
know.
legit place. It's not just a building.
Are you going to be okay with it not being damp?
I can fix that.
Okay.
I mean, Stiiv, are you gonna keep your hovel?
Oh, of course, he's still going to keep his hovel as
I mean, I guess
backup when we
technically you
go.
don't have rent on the hovel, so
And there's still things that are stored there.
It's always there for you.
But I will probably go and retrieve the exceptionally fluffy pillow and the damaged pillowcases
Oh
and
yeah.
bring them.
So you can have a little bit of moistness in your new home
Right.
because they've gotten a little bit damp in your hovel, just the way you like it.
It's good whenever pillowcases are damp. It's not moist hugs are not
It
though.
keeps the wrinkles out. So the day has passed. You have time to like talk amongst yourselves about what all has happened and all the people you're suspicious of and how everything is so like things are not on the up and up. All of these plot threads that have been dumped in your lap that you didn't really ask for.
The responsibility for breaking another human being.
Yeah. What are you going to do about Barry?
I'm going to have a word with Chef Perkins to ask him to try and order some food from Barry, some tomatoes.
Make sure that your tomatoes are purchased from Barry.
Mm-hmm.
Try to not
I'll
let
just
on
say,
that
look,
it's pity tomatoes.
yeah, just say that, something weird's happened in town and um he's being shunned, and we feel it's a bit unfair, so we'd like to try and help him out and get his reputation back.
Like you don't actually have to cook with the tomatoes. Just like throw them in the well or something. But just
Not wrong with
We
order
could have a
them.
tomatoes.
nice bit of tomato soup.
But they're subpar tomatoes. Or no wait. No, that's right. You said that it was just that the subpar vegetables were sold in the Stiiv, but he's got his tomatoes being sold in Saltmarsh, so
In
they're
the main
good
thing.
tomatoes. Yeah, so they're good
Yes.
tomatoes.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
They're, they're good tomatoes and they're bad tomatoes. And never the twain shall meet.
And then Kymir's going to say to Rocky, look, something unfortunate has happened to Crawford, and Tito's a bit upset, and I have told him that if he doesn't want to be by himself, he can come up here and hang out. So if he turns up, we did say that he could come and hang out up here.
Oh, that's great. Wow, what happened to Crawford?
Someone killed him.
Was it necromancy?
No, he was strangled, and we're trying to work out if it's connected to some other deaths, if it's connected to the smuggling. No one seems to know what's happening.
Well, that's weird. I mean, who would want to
Eh,
kill him if it wasn't like Sanbalay? But Sanbalay's dead, right?
Well, we think so, but who knows?
He was strangled so hard it left blood stains.
That's really hard strangling. Wow.
That's some hardcore strangles.
They must have been business. I don't know of
Mm.
anybody who hated Crawford that much. I mean, he's
I mean,
one
it
of the
does seem
guys.
yeah, that's a good point. Is it a case of someone hated him that much that's why there was blood, or did the DM just gaff?
I just
Of
got
course, there was a purpose to it.
Okay.
The DM would
I
never
just got
gaff.
I just got a reply from Dude. What have you done?
Did you tell her how you've destroyed Barry's psyche?
I'm
Oh
about
dear.
to.
Did you tell her that she has a bubble bath? Nobody asked if she wanted bubbles,
She's just gone.
but she's got them.
Yeah.
So, flash forward.
Whoa, Batman.
It's the night of the first day of I think it's Ron is the month. She says, "Consult." Yes, it is Ron. The first night of Ron, and the town council is holding a meeting that you're expected to attend to talk about the situation. Situation is in capital letters and quotes, and it's a big deal.
Okay.
I mean it, guys. This is really serious. I'm serial.
Super cereal.
Super
Super cereal right
serial.
now.
Super serial. You get to the town hall, and you finally, for the first time, you're not going straight to Andrew's office. Instead, you've kind of lingered at the area where you remember passing before a line of 5 chairs and several benches that are padded, thankfully, just in case the meeting runs long, your ass doesn't suffer for it.
Reply. I am fine with both of these things, unless dorky sea elf sidekick is also there. He is a dumbass.
Surprise! So you reach the town hall. Who is not on this map? Stiiv is not on this map. Stiiv, are you going in disguise to this town hall meeting?
I was just, yes, I'm going as Esteban. I don't think Stiiv would be very welcome.
Let me share the town hall map with you guys again. So you arrive at the town hall meeting. You see that Trivet is there. She was, when you got there, seated behind a little desk just in the entrance.
Why is he there?
Why is who where?
You know,
He left.
No, he
That
didn't
was-
leave forever. He
Oh.
was going over to Ada Olin's house because he'd made great friends with her.
I
Apparently,
thought he was leaving.
no, he found someone else he could leech off of.
No more moist huggery.
Somebody who appreciated moist hugs, since you guys were too Philistine too. So you dry huggers.
Uh,
So, like, Trivet started out at a little desk, her little clerk's desk. And then she saw you guys arrive, and she sees that Stiiv isn't with you, and she's like, have you guys seen Stiiv?
We have.
Well, like, did you tell him about our dad?
We did.
Well, what did he say? Like, is he looking for him? Because Anders hasn't found him yet, and he's really actually tried.
It's on our list of things to do.
Oh, on a list?
Honestly, no. Well, there's a lot of people gone missing, and we think it might all be tied together.
Like,
so because you and Anders,
I know, right? Like, a lot of people have gone missing. It's really weird. Like,
know.
I was going to think that maybe Stiiv had gone missing, but you guys say you've seen him.
We have, and he's in the process of helping with the searching.
he's working undercover.
Yes.
And then she notices that Esteban or Kel is talking. She's like, what are you doing here? Are you involved with the investigation? Are you going to be the new council member? Oh my god! Oh my god, you are! You are going to be the new council member! Oh my god, wait till I tell people! Oh, this is so exciting!
Uh-oh.
Awkward.
Esteban or Cal. Yeah. You're just the kind of person we need on the council. Though,
Remind me, is Esteban someone he's copying, or is it a fabrication that he uses?
Complete fabrication.
yeah.
All right, fine. So we don't have to worry about breaking someone else, right?
Yeah, no. Esteban doesn't own property anyway, so
And then Trivet's
'cause he
face
doesn't
falls.
exist.
Trivet's face falls, and she's like, but if my dad was around, he probably would have been a good person to be on the council. Because he could have actually represented the Stiiv.
We're trying to get him back.
Well, try harder, okay? I miss my dad. You tell Stiiv.
Understood.
You tell Stiiv he needs like help, and if there'll be any encouragement, I'll make him a yam casserole and I'll bring it over, and that will like feed his brain cells so we can find our dad.
Please don't.
But
Honestly, we are really doing our best.
Stiiv loves yam casserole.
Oh, wasn't it turnips?
He loves turnip casserole too. All of the root vegetables, really. You put them in a casserole and you put like the breadcrumbs on top and you put a lot of butter and whatnot. Aces.
Turn.
Hey, like, how is the haunted house? Like, is it
Totally not
still
haunted
haunted?
anymore. Totally not haunted.
It's not.
Nope.
Aww. Bummer.
Yeah.
It was way cooler when it was haunted. Now it's just a
It's
house.
it's a very boring, mundane house now.
Ugh. I guess that means that, like, all of you guys, and she, like, looks at Shaefira and Kerithlana and Kymir. I guess you guys are eligible to run for council, too. I mean, you have a house.
Yeah, don't we really want to.
Yeah, I'm too short.
And I'm too. I was going to say too horny, but.
Well, I mean, horniness, they let Gellin
Yeah.
on the council before, so that's really kind of that's not an obstacle. And we got a dwarf on the council, so halflings are totally, legit. Yeah, you're legit. I don't know about Seals. Like, maybe this Oceanus guy, maybe he's going to run. I don't think he owns property, though. He seems like a bit of a woofter.
He's too moist.
Okay, he's a pain in the ass. You
It's a
don't
bit
want him.
moist.
Yeah, like he's always trying to give you moist hugs. I mean, what's that about?
Yeah.
Say, what do you guys think of Anders?
He seems. He seems like a nice guy
Yeah, like,
from what we know of him.
I thought he was maybe like stupid and really annoying and just like tried too hard, but I mean, he's a council member, so I just thought he was kind of full of it. I mean, his mom was kind of hard to take when she was alive. But he
But
seems
she
like,
got killed.
well, yeah, she did get killed. It's kind of a bummer, actually.
I mean,
I mean, what if my
bit of
dad's
a-
killed? I mean, what would that be like if my dad's actually dead? And if, like, Anders had to go through that with his mom? Makes me kind of feel bad for him. Like, maybe,
With all these people crying.
but
maybe,
we need to get to the meeting.
maybe I've been too harsh with Anders. I don't know. He seemed like he might be nice.
Maybe you should give him a try. Just be friends with him, and see if you like him as a person before you decide anything.
But if you hear any gossip, do tell us.
We'll
Can we
get-
ask her if she knows anything about a really tall, dark guy with a just to distract her from her current distresses?
What, a really tall guy?
Yeah, tall
Like,
guy with a
how
turban.
Oh, with the turban. Oh, him?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't mention his name.
Why? Is it Voldemort?
No, that's Professor Quirrell.
Oh my god,
Oh,
yeah,
no.
turban.
Yeah.
She
Why
says
don't we mention his name?
she's looking up his name. I'm looking up his name because I've already
Oh,
forgotten.
Okay.
His
It's
name is
Voldemort.
Turban Guy.
God, where is his name? Sad. I'm so sad right now because I've like lost the dude. Okay, so we don't say his name, but I will write it down for you. But we kind of call him the unspoken because it's said that if you say his name aloud 3 times, he can see you and what you're doing.
Really? Is he some kind of wizard then, or?
Yeah,
sorcerer?
he's a wizard. He lives in a tower, south side of town.
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Okay.
And she writes down his name. Don't say it aloud, just in case the rumors are true. It's spooky, isn't it? It's so cool.
Oh yeah, that guy, Kaladek the Unspoken.
You mean
Esteban!
Teledec the Unspoken?
No! Don't say it! You don't say it!
Rumor around town claims that speaking his name deck to eavesdrop on a conversation for a short time, so locals don't talk about him much.
Yeah! That guy! Don't say his name again!
Oops.
Who? Keledec the Unspoken?
And at that moment, a little imp appears in the corner.
I am going to say hi in Infernal to the imp.
And the imp jumps. He's like, ah, I'm invisible again. He doesn't say that, but you can tell from his body language that he's thinking, ah, I'm invisible again. And he disappears again.
And then in Infernal, I'm going to say, we know you're here. Please tell Keledec that we'd really like to say hi to him in person.
And you hear this little teeny voice say in Infernal back, oh man, I'm in so much deep shit. Keledec gonna be pissed.
Oh my god.
I'm just going to reply to him saying, no, you don't have to say that we saw you. You can just say that you overheard us saying we'd really like to meet Keledec.
Oh yeah, that's a good story. Yeah, I'll
Okay.
stick with that. Thanks.
All right. Now go away.
Give a wave in the corner.
And Trivet overhears you speaking like Infernal. She's like, oh my god, you're speaking in tongues. It is so cool. Are you talking to something like a demon from the below? Is this like one of those spooky things? Is this some like conjuring? Huh? Can you be conjuring? Oh, let's have a conjuring.
No.
So just about this time, you hear a gavel crash from the other, clang, clang, clang from inside the next room.
Yeah, we gotta go.
Kerithlana has already like wandered off and taken a seat. She's sat on the farthest side of the room away from where Oceanus is. And you notice that like Oceanus is on his own in one bench and he's kind of like beaming at Ava Oland. But nobody's sitting on the benches near him. Everybody's kind of crowded into the left side of the room.
Is that because he sat in a puddle?
Yeah, like he made the bench.
Unwanted moist hugger.
The bench is moist. Nobody wants to risk giving the illusion that they're friends. So Ada is, she's clanked the gavel, kind of de facto leader of the council, and she's calling the meeting to order. Trivet kind of peeks in after you. She's looking around the corner and listening in on what's happening. You see their guards stationed from the town council, just kind of make sure that keep the riffraff out. For some reason, Trivet isn't being treated like riffraff, maybe because she is a clerk with the town office. Ada notices that you're all here. And she nods to each one of you. Pansy Paperweight is there as well. She looks a little, unwelcoming as Kymir and Shaefira sit near her. But then she looks over at where Oceanus is, like she's considering moving and the alternatives, and she decides that she's going to stay put. Because as much as she doesn't have good feelings towards you guys, that sea elf is worse. So Ada Overland knows, okay, we are gathered here for this meeting of the town council to discuss the situation, our unwelcome open seat on the council, as well as situation with smuggling, which I don't really see as a situation, but apparently some people, and she looks over at Anders, have taken upon themselves as a initiative of the town to prosecute the smuggling operation. And perhaps they were wise to do so, as it seems to be tied to some potential aggressions of lizard folk in the area. May the notes show that we have guests to this town council meeting to give testimony. And at this point, you notice that Trivet is actually taking notes, and that's why she's here at this meeting. We have a Pansy Paperweight, member of House Civis in good standing, to give her accounting as an expert witness. And we have the heroes. Who are you again? Do you have an official moniker? And she's gesturing at like Kymir and Shaefira, Kerithlana.
We don't really have a group name, do we?
No. Apart from a complete disaster piece.
You are the owners of the alchemist's house. That place that was considered haunted.
I don't think naming your group Complete Disaster Piece is a very auspicious thing to name it.
Disaster Piece Prime.
Oh God, I kind of.
Can we just say we're working on
Ghost?
it?
we could be Ghostbusters.
We'll just call you concerned citizens, all right? We have Esteban Urkel. I didn't think you were on the agenda. And she's looking down at the papers in front of you. You're welcome, of course, Esteban. Do you
An absent member of the concerned citizens.
I suppose you would be concerned since you are one of the most illustrious citizens in Saltmarsh, of course. You aren't perhaps interested in the open seat, are you?
Not at this time, no.
And we also have Oceanus of Manan, and she gestures to Oceanus, of course. And he stands up and he gives everybody these grand bows that last way too long, and the puddle extends to the floor. Also, as an expert witness.
On what?
He was kind of a prisoner of the smuggling ship.
What is he expecting us? Apart from the fact he was chained up, he doesn't know anything.
Yeah, but he was a witness for us busting up the ring and saving his life, and
okay, fair enough.
Yes.
he's kind of as expert a witness as we could ask for in a terrible way.
He's going to cause trouble with the lizard folk, and we don't actually know if they're causing any problems.
So, from the written account we've been provided by Mr. Oceanus, it is our understanding that you, the new owners of the alchemist's house, have interrupted and destroyed a smuggling ring that was operating out of the caves below your home place. Is that correct?
It is.
To your knowledge, was the smuggling ring local, of local citizens, or were people who were invading our fair town?
Locals?
No.
No?
Locals, you say?
No. We don't know because
Locals, you don't say.
Recently, we've only just turned up in Saltmarsh, so we don't really know many people. So we couldn't say whether or not they were local.
Oh.
It's both. Esteban just chimes in, just like, it's both.
Thank you, Esteban. Thank you. I was afraid this meeting was going to waste a lot of time and not get straight to the fact.
I don't want to grass anyone up.
Well, no, but Steve knows. It was a bunch of locals and a bunch of externals.
The suggestion has been made that the smuggling ring did not deal only in brandy and textiles, as is the normal smuggling trade, which I would attest is of no harm to anyone. And you hear Eleander kind of, mumble, it's breaking the law.
Corrupt. Shaefira coughs in the background.
You see Ada Ovelyn kind of narrows her eyes in your direction. After all, as a representative of the town, I recognize that people need to eat. However, Anders has suggested that the smuggling ring was not only involved with the smuggling of consumable goods, but the transport of people against their will, and that we cannot counsel, we cannot tolerate, because it is our duty as members of the Town Council of Saltmarsh to protect the people of Saltmarsh.
He said duty.
Is that what Esteban says?
No,
It
he
is,
just kind of like mumbles it just loud enough for Shaefira and Kerithlana to hear.
okay.
Kymir sort of smothers a laugh.
So, concerned citizens, it is my understanding that you have some knowledge of this slave trade. Can you give us your account that there was, in fact, human trafficking as part of the smuggling ring?
Well, yes, because after we arrived in Saltmarsh and attended Gallon Prime Water's party, I can't remember if it was for anything in particular.
No, it was one of his parties. He just threw because he threw parties.
Yeah, so we arrived on the day of one of Gallon Prime Water's parties. We joined in. We were having some fun with the locals, and then the next thing we know, we all woke up tied, chained to in the brig of a ship.
Ah,
Ah.
do any of you have any recollection of how you wound up in the brig of the ship? Any memories of being attacked?
No,
But,
they got pissed.
it was Clopong, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were a bit drunk.
Yeah.
I can't
So,
remember. There was something in an alley. There was something that happened with us in an alley for it. No, not like that.
I've no idea.
so, do you drink as a rule? Is this a common occurrence for you, drinking until you black out and wake up somewhere you don't recognize?
No, I think I was
No.
roofied.
Not. Yeah.
We just canonically invented roofies in Eberron.
Yeah.
Some form of mushroom.
Ada's eyes kind of narrow, and she's like, Like, she's kind of judging whether or not, she considers your word to be exactly trustworthy.
My order, although it allows the partake of alcohol, does not condone excessive partaking of alcohol.
At this point, Eliander breaks in. He says, "You see, I also provided the report of one Jaws Des, a lizard folk who has worked with the militia before. He gave a full report as to the kidnapping of these people, and I trust his opinion as to the nefarious intentions of that ship's crew. One ship called the Golden Hook. It was known at that time, identified that they were kidnapping members of our community and taking them to parts unknown. And we were on the case trying to locate where this crew was operating, where their destination point was." And at this point, you hear Oceanus kind of pipe up, "Firewatch Island! Firewatch!" And everybody seems to be like, "Oh God, this again," because nobody knows where Firewatch is.
He mentioned that, didn't he, before?
Ada then says, "It's interesting that you mentioned a lizard folk as one of your sources, one of your witnesses, since part of the concern are these rumors we've had, these reports we've had of lizard folk purchasing weapons from these smugglers, lizard folk being aboard a smuggler vessel, as well as the report of the watch crew, the scouting party that has just returned to this day, to say that they've seen increased traffic of lizard folk in the area and that they seem to be somewhat hostile and ready for combat."
The smuggling ring appears to have also been smuggling weapons as well as people to supply the local lizard folk population. So by busting that up, that should minimize any further mobility or mobilization of the blood folk tribe.
That may be the case, but we're concerned that if the lizard folk have taken in their minds that we are somehow a threat to them. After all, the lizard folk have appeared recently. Their camp used to be farther away from Saltmarsh. Isn't that the case? Oceanus, you identified on the map where the Bloodroot tribe outpost is. Yes? And he's like, yes, I absolutely did. It was my pleasure to identify the location of their outpost on a map for you, ma'am.
Could Kymir just, like, discreetly throw some at his head?
Do you want to throw something at his head discreetly?
Dude, just
Do like a stealth check. You pull out a pencil or like a pebble, and you try to throw it at his head. Do an attack roll for a ranged whatever.
Hang on.
So you throw like a little pebble at his head, like, ah, shut up you. And it hits him. But until he sees that you did it, he's like, well, come here. I thought we were friends.
Oh, she has. Dude, you don't know for definite that there's anything going on with the lizard folk, and you are stirring up trouble.
We may not have any confirmation of the lizard folk's intentions at this point, Ada Oland, she continues to say. But I think it holds us in good stead that we go and ask some questions. And to that end, we would like to send you, concerned citizens, seeing as how you seem to be able to sort out this smuggling adjacent situation thus far.
There was me planning furniture buying for the new house.
Travel to the outpost of the lizard folk tribe and investigate for yourselves exactly what they're on about. Come back to us with your report as to whether or not they can be trusted. And make sure that if asked, you make very clear that we have no violent intentions towards the lizard folk ourselves at this point. We seek to be allies. After all, we have enough trouble in the area between the smugglers, the pirates, and the Sawagan.
What are your suggested rules of engagement if we're attacked?
Well, if you're attacked, I certainly don't expect you to stand there and die. But I think we would all appreciate, as representatives of Saltmarsh, that you try to be as diplomatic as possible in your dealings with these lizard folk.
Have you not seen what we've done so far since we got here?
Eleander seems to think that you are friends with one of their number. Jaws Des? Perhaps that will work as an end for you and make it less likely for you to run into any trouble. Certainly makes you the best candidate among all of our options here in
We can do
Saltmarsh.
some name dropping.
Oh, one more thing. Oceanus here has volunteered to accompany you if you would like him to
No.
do so.
No. Hang on, let me discuss with party members. Do we want him to come with us?
No. I don't know. What's his purpose? What is his purpose?
To annoy the crap out of us.
I mean, Stiiv obviously feels uncomfortable around moist guys.
Oceanus
whole-
jumps on his bench and you hear him make a little woo sound.
Great.
Woo! Let me go, guys!
Well, to be fair,
See, I would ask. Yeah.
I am.
Kerithlana will be, you know, well,
I am highly diplomatic, and I know exactly where the outpost is. If I went along with you, I could lead you directly to it, and you wouldn't have to go buy a map.
You marked it on our map. That's fine.
He's not diplomatic. He talks too much,
He has
and he
he
says exactly what's in his.
has the internal monologue of Austin Powers.
Mhm.
He's about as subtle as Kerithlana.
At this
All right.
point, he looks at Kymir. Do I make you horny, baby?
Oh God.
God. Right, I'm going to look at Ada and I'm going to say, I really appreciate the offer of help, but I feel that due to Oceanus's time on the ship, imprisoned, I feel he needs to recover, recuperate, get himself back to full fitness, possibly go speak to his people to let them know that he's safe, and that we are taking diplomatic steps towards the lizard folk in case they are possibly gearing up for some trouble. And I feel that would be a better thing for him to do rather than accompany us. It's like, doing two things at once if we do it that way.
I declare unfit for the mission due to conflict of interest and too much liability involved in this situation.
Is that Esteban saying it?
That's Esteban putting full on political halt to that. Just nope. X'd. Disqualified.
Ada-
Unfit for mission.
Ada holds out her hand. She's, we never intended for you to go, Esteban. You're much too important to Saltmarsh to risk at such a.
He's talking about he's saying that for Oceanus. No, he's unfit for mission.
I'm surprised you think that, Esteban, but well, very well. And at that point, Ada hits her gavel again, and she's like, all right, let's take a vote. All in favor of the owners of the Alchemist's Place to take this venture? All in favor, say aye.
I
And you guys are in the council, yo.
I know. He's
She
voting
didn't say
anyway.
the council.
We're practicing.
All right. And Eleander and Anders, he says, I and I, and Edda says I, and Manistra just kind of shrugs. She's like, this isn't a dwarf problem. I don't care. Fine with her. So you guys are approved. If you need any gear before you set out, Anders has offered to provide you with any supplies you might need. And Anders says, yes, yes, anything you need, come and see me. I'll be happy to help you, my friends.
I think we should have a chat with Anders before we leave anyway. So.
Now, on to the next business. We have, unfortunately, a seat on the council to fill. Regulations prescribe that we take a full fortnight in order to be open to nominations to fill this seat. Council members must be property owners within the environs of Saltmarsh. I will now open the nominations. Do we hear any vocal recommendations at this time? And
Esteban suddenly finds something very interesting up in the upper left-hand corner of.
And Anders is like, well, I would like to nominate Esteban Urkel, the most interesting man in Saltmarsh. And Ada's like, good suggestion. Do I hear a second? And you hear Trivet pipe up, I second!
Uh-oh.
All right, that will be an official nomination.
There's gotta be more.
Esteban on the ballot. And then Eleander speaks up. What about Kymir here? He is now an owner of property in our town. While he traveled from afar, he has a different viewpoint than the average fisher or merchant that is part of our numbers. So this might be an ingenious way to expand our horizons.
Diversity is always a good thing, claps Kymir on the shoulder. Good choice!
No.
Do we have any seconds?
No.
If I'm on it, you're going down
And
with me.
and Oceanus is like, I second! Yeah! Come here! Yo, bro! Get on the council!
Screw you, dude.
All right, that's a second. We have 2 nominations. The nominations will be open for the rest of the fortnight, so that citizens can petition for additional ballot members, and then we will have elections. I think that will conclude our business for this evening.
Okay.
And then she pounds the gavel, and then people start getting up for their benches. We kind of skip Pansy Paperweight. Oh, we kind of skip Pansy Paperweight.
Well, is this meeting anything to do with Galen Primewater's death?
Well, yeah, I kind of skipped that part. I'm like very
Okay.
awkward. So the last little bit. Okay, now secret meeting. Double top secret meeting. And Oceanus kind of leaves the building. One of the Sergeant Pulte escorts him out. He thinks the meeting's over, but no.
Is Trivet still here for the super secret meeting?
Trivet is still here, but she's changed the paper of her stationery. It's a different color now, and she's changed the ink that she's using with her pen.
Oh,
Very organized.
it's the super cereal color.
It's the super secret meeting color now. Now, regarding Galen Primewater, Eleander has told us that you suspect foul play, and that you. I stopped wording. You recruited the craft of our scribe here, House Civis, Civis's own Pansy Paperweight, to examine the suicide note for signs of foul play. Pansy, what result do you have for us? And Pansy gets up and she's like walking like she's being very serious and taking this like this is very formal. And she kind of flips out this like the screen made out of a very strange material that you haven't seen before. And then she brings out like a candle and these little square objects, and she holds the candle behind these little square objects, and it flashes this picture up onto this screen of strange material. Pansy has prepared a presentation.
Oh, nice.
So she starts flipping through pictures that have been illusions that have been reproduced of the suicide note, and she starts to analyze the handwriting and compare it to other samples of Galen Primewater's handwriting, and she breaks it down to everybody that she concludes with overwhelming accuracy that is granted a House Civis seal of authenticity that this note was not written by Galen Primewater, but was a very faithful representation thereof. She concludes saying that she has been giving consideration to who in Saltmarsh that she knows of is capable of this level of forgery outside of House Civis, and she can think of no possible suspects. That whoever's responsible for this note is somebody in the town whose talents are not known. Edda Olin seems quite disappointed by this news because she's like, well, damn it. What are we supposed to do with this? We need suspects. We need some idea of who, if Galen didn't kill himself, who killed him? And should we be worried? And then she turns to you guys.
Okay. So
What do you think about Galen's death? You had your suspicions. Did you find something off with the body?
Yes, we did. He wasn't wearing a corset. Does that
The
mean anything?
The whole left side of the council table gasps. And Manistrau's just sitting here like, what? What do corsets have to do with anything?
From what we
But the left
understand,
side of the table is like,
Alright,
oh
right.
my god.
We don't have to explain it. They know.
And you hear Trivet exclaim like, oh my god! He wasn't wearing a corset? Oh my god. There's lots of exclamations to the host, into the flame. So, how do you think, how do you think they killed him? Like, do you think they pushed him over the balcony against his will?
Well,
Yes.
we've got no. We found we found a hole.
we did. And
We found a hole
yeah.
in above the bed, and we thought that they'd done a dodgy James Bond type
Yes.
sliding poison down a
Yes.
thread, because as we said the last time, James Bond is canon for Eberron, and we think that someone poisoned him in his sleep and then threw him over the landing.
Yeah, we did.
Wasn't
Eleander.
the poison?
What?
I was say, wasn't the poison down the thread Gross Point Blank and John Cusack?
No. It was in the one with Sean Connery
Yes.
on the volcano island
With the
with the cute Asian lasses.
yeah, it were Japanese, wasn't it?
I'm not sure it would.
It was some sort of
I'll
Japanese.
find it.
What is it?
You only live twice?
Might be.
One of them.
We're totally off the rails now. I think I was in both, but I think it's like a spy thing. Like, I think Gross Point Blank and both James Bond are fair, users of this technique.
Yeah, so I would swear that's the opening scene of Gross Point Blank was him sliding poison down the thread.
So Eleander is sitting up really straight now, like you've brought him to attention. We noticed that hole, but we didn't realize that that's what it was used for. You think
Well,
an assassin is at work here in Saltmarsh?
possibly, but then we also destroyed the hole, so we might have ruined any chance of getting any evidence from it. Sorry.
You're killing me, Steve. Oh my god, that's awesome.
That's gonna be my next character name.
If we were
realize what you were on about.
The famous assassin Jean Cusack. So we could be dealing with an assassin here, somebody who's looking to kill members of the council. We should all be on the guard then, says Eleander.
There's also been a lot of associated murders from other property owners that occurred at the same time.
You mean
We feel they may be connected.
the
but we
deaths
don't
in the
know
Stiiv? It's a miserable place, the Stiiv. People do die there from time to time, and
But it does seem a bit strange that all these people are disappearing or dying on or around about the same time as Gallum.
after all, smugglers are criminals and they hang out in the Stiiv. And when Eleander says that, Ada kind of lets out this cough of scorn. Like, she doesn't like this idea of smugglers being considered criminals.
On the other hand, there is the murders in the Stiiv. One of them, at least, was definitely an assassin level hit because he was strangled so hard it nearly took his head off, and there was a huge blood stain.
You bastard.
I'm not letting that go.
Oh man. That was a violent way. It was gruesome. Gruesome the level to which he was strangled.
One might say it was gorifying.
I will attest, it was almost like it was quite a bloody strangling. It was quite a bloody strangling. Nobody can talk.
Oh dear.
We are continuing our investigation.
We
have been continuing the investigation under the assumption that it was foul play, but now we have it confirmed.
And then Anders pops up. We've also got people missing, such as the most notable Pater Amoria, father of our most reputable secretary clerk of the town council. We haven't found a body yet, but I suspect foul play.
There is no reason for Potter to go missing without foul play. Law and order noise. Dun 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 dun.
Dun dun. So, Eleander says, while you are meeting and investigating the lizard folk, just to make sure that we shouldn't be worried about their intentions, Anders and I, along with the City Watch, will take it upon us to do further investigation as to the status of these deaths that are happening in the styes. Perhaps we can tie them in to Gellin Primewater's death. Perhaps Gellin's death was completely separate because of the proof that you have been gathering that he's involved with the slaving. But we'll stay attentive. We'll keep our eyes on it and see if we can track down the source of this foul play. I will double the patrols in the styes for the time being, at least through the elections.
All right, I guess we're going to. Well, excuse me, we're going to the lizard folk village.
And at this point, Ada hits her gavel twice. She says, this ends the secret part of the town council meeting.
Blatantly called secret part.
It was on the secret agenda.
It's on the agenda.
The secret agenda.
Secret. Just at the very end. Secret part.
The extra page that only some people had in their copy of the agenda. And she hits her gavel, and then the crowd really does start to disperse, and you see Pansy kind of skip out. She collects up her screen and her little slides and her candle, and she skips out. And you guys are left to follow your destiny. You were given a map, and I actually didn't put it on this map yet, because I am a terrible DM. But where did I... What did I do with the map? I think I've already shared it with you. Like when I loaded it, I went ahead and reshared because it was to replace... It's this Kabara Saltmarsh campaign map.
Oh yeah, we have that.
So you see where Saltmarsh is, and you see where the Crimson River is, and things like where the Dwarven Mine is outside of town.
Mm-hmm.
And your house is where the S is in Saltmarsh, the big S.
Okay.
Oh, I was gonna say, middle of the ocean.
No, it's not in the middle of the ocean. It's that, yeah, it's not the little S, it's the big S.
Big ass, gotcha.
So you have a map like this.
Wait, so we have a big ass house?
You have a big ass house. Yes, you do.
Grown.
Don't be jealous that
And you
didn't say it
see that Oceanus has left a little damp patch on this map, and he's marked a blob on the map just so to mark the outpost. And they also put another little blob.
I'm sorry. Oh, there it is. Okay.
I don't see a
That-
blob. Oh yeah, I do see a
And
blob.
then
Home,
and then
okay.
he put another little blob over like home. So that's where Manon is a little island to
Yeah.
the east, off of a bigger island. He says like that's the Twilight Sea, and then it's like the Twilight Island, and Manon is just off the coast of it. It's a bit that broke off and sank when during the times of the Aboleth. But where the arrow is pointing is where the Bloodroot tribe outpost is. And that is where we're going to leave this session. With you guys.
Times of the Aboleth.
you guys are going to be headed out to approach this camp. It'll be up to you whether or not you approach by land or by sea. And think about for next time if there's anything that you want to, any supplies you want to get sponsored by Anders Solmar. And if there's any business you want to tie up, like, I don't know, stuff with your chickens, I don't know. Otherwise,
Okay.
otherwise we will start out on the road. We'll give a little bit of time toward that, and then you'll be hitting the road. Either hitting the road or hitting the sea. Your choice.
Okay.
Okay.
I definitely think we're gonna go through and hit up Anders for some
More
gear.
gunpowder.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm.
I mean, if we go by land, we need camping.
Well, do we want to go through something called the swamp?
It doesn't sound pleasant, I will admit.
I honestly think where we should take our Mephit
Oh.
boat.
Yeah. So it's more food. Do we want? Oh, yeah, maybe this is something we talk about later.
We've
But
got
do we want to think about something we can take to?
Toast and jam.
I was thinking more for the lizard folk.
Why?
They like eggs.
That's true, they do, don't
Oh,
We
come
do have
bearing
chickens.
gifts.
We do
Uh-huh.
have
Exactly.
chickens.
Since we're a diplomatic mission.
We'll have to remember that we're a diplomatic mission. We're just heavily armed.
Yes. With bad dice rolls.
And
I didn't-
your DM will hopefully figure out how long travel takes both ways before we meet next time. So
Thank you, Bonnie.
I'm also putting on the map that the 15th of Ron is when the ballots will be finalized for the town council elections.
What happens if we're not around? If we're still
Somebody,
traveling?
well, 2 of you have your names on the ballot.
Shit.
That doesn't mean, but hey, just being on the ballot, we're not going to be here for it.
So, I mean, you don't have to be there for it. You could get elected in your absence.
Fabulous.
But you might need to be in town if you want to dissuade people from voting for you.
I'm about to say, Kymir has less of a problem than Esteban. Esteban has a reputation.
Yeah, you're
And has a-
popular.
Esteban has a very real risk of being voted in absentia.
I could just run around with my horns out. No one would vote for me.
No, but see, you could win on a diversity ticket.
Nah.
He wants people to vote for him because they want to vote for him.
I know what I can do. Esteban can have Barry run his campaign. That's my campaign. I'm going to hire Barry to be my campaign manager.
Oh, wow.
That's how we're going to repair Barry.
I'm not sure that would repair Barry.
I know, it'll totally break him worse.
You're a bad man.
I know.
Oh, I put the 15th down as when the ballot closes and the 19th down as election day.
Okay.
That's a problem for a few.
That's a problem for future all y'all.
Mm.
All right, we're gonna go.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Toodles.
Bye.
Say
Bye, Steve.
Bye, Steve.
Don't die.